Hello, I'm Ollie. This is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, horror. I've got a review of a new release, Mestiza Blood by V Castro. So this book comes out today, and you should go and buy it because it's really, really good. So it is a short story collection, 14 horror short stories ranging from very short, so kind of 3-4 pages, to a bit longer. So I think the longest ones are probably kind of 40-50 pages. It's really, really good. So I reviewed V Castro's book, Queen of the Cicadas, her novel, a while ago on the channel. I really like that as well. She's a really great, fresh new voice in horror fiction, in my opinion. So she is a Latinx woman, and her experiences really play a huge part in the book, and I think that's one of the things that gives them their freshness. Horror has for so long been dominated by straight white men, that it's really great to read a book from the perspective of a woman of colour. So it's the range of kind of settings and subject matters and characters that make this book so great. No two stories in it are similar. So you've got a story about this kind of winged creature in a post-apocalyptic future, trying to make money. You've got stories about mothers trying to protect their children from the authorities. You've got a fantastic story about a porn star making her last film, and the settings are kind of small America, cities. Everything's covered in this book. It's really enjoyable in terms of its variety, but what ties it all together is this theme of what it's like to be a Latinx woman, and that really gives the collection a beating heart that works brilliantly, and makes it really absorbing and interesting. As always with a short story collection, the quality isn't consistent throughout. I think all of the stories in this collection are either good or very good. There's no bad stories here, but certainly for me, what I found was that the shorter stories tended to be less satisfying than the longer ones, and what Castro does brilliantly is create and draw the reader into settings and situations and the lives of her characters. So right from the first page of these stories, you get that sense of place and the sense of character, and they're really absorbing. She really sucks you into the environment she's telling you about and the lives of the people she's describing. What is in some of the stories a bit less successful is the endings, to me, sometimes felt a little bit abrupt, and they left me wanting more. And maybe that's a good thing in the short story. But yeah, some of the shorter stories I felt like I wanted to know more. Her longer stories, particularly the last two stories, I think are the most successful. And I'll talk in particular about one of those stories. So there's a story in here called Truck Stop, which is just fantastic. So it's about a young woman who has this very strange deformity, which I won't go into in too much detail because I don't want to spoil the story. But what I will say is it reminded me of a bit of the 80s horror movie Basket Case. If anyone's seen that, directed by Frank Henenlotter. But this take on that kind of concept it's a bit like if Basket Case the movie was a porn film and was directed by David Cronenberg. This story is just crazy. It's extremely explicit, and I would say, not trigger warning, but like, if you're a prude, don't read this book. There's an awful lot of sensuality in this book and an awful lot of graphic sex, particularly in Truck Stop. And not only is the sex graphic, it's quite fucked up, but it's a really great story. And it's a story I haven't stopped thinking about since I finished reading it. It's so, despite being very graphic and explicit and having violence and all sorts of stuff going on in it, as with all of these stories, it's got a real heart. You really connect with the character, and that's what makes a great book. It's that I'm, as a lover of pulp and crime and stuff, I'm I'm very much a plot-led reader. You know, it's plots I go for. But at the end of the day, if you don't connect, you know, it's the characters for me that make a great book rather than a good book. And you know, certainly I think Truck Stop is a great short story. Not all the stories in this are great, but Truck Stop is really, really good, and it's because of that emotional connection. And all the stories have that emotional connection in them. There may be some flaws in the plotting in some of them, things like that, but you know, they all get to you. They all get you in the heart, and you do feel for the characters you're reading about. So, you know, I really heartily recommend this collection. I think it's really, really good. I need to go back. I've read one novella by V Castro and 2 of her novels now. Queen of the Cicadas, which I talked about, and Maria the Wanted. There's a couple, I think there's a novella and a novel I haven't read yet, and I need to read those because she's really, really good. And I think she's getting better and better. I'm really excited to see what she does next. As I said at the start, I think she's a really interesting, fresh new voice in horror. And you know, I applaud Flametree Press for publishing her. I think it's a really, really good collection, and you should definitely pick it up I think you should pick it up anyway if you like horror, but particularly if you want to read something a bit different. So yeah, it gets a big criminal-y thumbs up from me. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you found that interesting. As I said, Mestiza Blood comes out today, so 18th of January. Do look out for it online or in the bookstore, and yeah, I definitely recommend picking up a copy. So hope you're safe and well, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheerio!